Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture. In this lecture, we are going to learn about functions topic. Okay, basically, what are functions? Let's first learn about the introduction of the functions here. Okay, large programs are generally avoided because it becomes difficult to manage it. In order to simplify the work, we divide the large code into smaller units known as functions. Okay, basically, a function is okay. A function is a named unit of group of statements which can be invoked or called from the other parts of the programs. Okay, what are the benefits of using functions in the Python code? Let's discuss about that also. Okay, benefits of using functions are program handling becomes easier, avoid ambiguity, reduce the program size, program becomes more readable and understandable. Okay, let me show you the example of this. See, example showing defining of a function. Define interest PRT SI equal to PRT divided by 100. Return SI. So the code ends in just 3 lines. Okay. This shows program handling becomes easier. Okay. This is also a 3 line code. Avoid ambiguity. Yes. Reduce the program size. Yes. Program becomes more readable and understandable. Okay. In the above example, I write here, wait. Yes. In the above example of function definition, define, this is the first bullet you can say, define is the keyword which signifies that function definition is starting. Okay. Next we have identifier following the define keyword or def keyword, but it's basically define. The define keyword is the name of the function, that is interest in our above example. Okay, the variables inside the parentheses are called arguments or parameters, that is p r t. Just the example of that simple interest example are arguments. So the PRT which we have written in like in the function, so basically PRT are known as arguments. Okay. Next we have the colon, that is this one at the end of the function. Line segments signifies that it is a block. Okay. So we have next the statements written inside the block of the function are automatically indented as They signifies that these statements are the body of the function. Okay, the return statement returns the computed result. Okay, so our all major points for basically defining a function is covered here. Now we are going to see that the non-indented statements written outside the function body are not considered as not considered to be the part of the function. Okay, so now let's talk about the calling and invoking of a function, how to call a function and how to implement that called function in the statement, or how to return that called function. Okay, so our heading is calling, invoking of a function. Okay, so let's learn about this also. In order to use the function which has been defined, there is need to call slash invoke the function. Okay, for the proper function call, statement has to be written. So let's check the example for this also. We have a function name. This is basically a syntax how to write this. Okay, then list of arguments, just like we have written PRT in the simple interest example. Okay, then or we can say function name, it's name like this. Wait, yeah, it can be written like this. Okay, and empty bracket here, in which no argument is passed. Okay, as already we have defined the function interest above, so we can call the function by using the following statement. Okay, so that is interest, interest, bracket p comma r comma and t. Okay, or we can write the values also instead of p r t, like if we want the principal as 1000, rate as 3 and time as 2 seconds, so we can write it as like this also, interest 1000 comma 3 comma 2, like this. So this 1000 implies as the principal, 3 implies as the rate and 2 implies as the time. Okay, so there are some various ways to invoke the function or call the function, you can say various ways to invoke the function. Okay, so first we have passing the literal as an argument. Okay, so we have discussed like what is literal and how to pass literal in argument. So in function call, so this is how you can pass the so this is how you can pass the function call. Okay, example, we can say like this, cube 5. Okay, so our second method is passing variable as argument in function call. Passing variable as argument in function call. Example, wait, ah, wait, x equal to 10. Okay, then cube of x. Okay, so now let's understand the difference between both the ways. So first we have written passing the literal as argument in the function call. Okay, so basically we have written cube of 5. Okay, like we want the cube of 5, just for an example. So we have passed the value or literal 5 in the as an argument. In this, we are passing variable as an argument. Like first we have initialized the variable like x equal, we want some thousand value. Okay, so we can write it as cube of thousand also. So it will be considered as literal as an argument. But if we want to pass the value using a variable, so that is why we have written here passing variable as argument in function call. So for example, if we have written x equal to 10, so then we'll write cube equal to cube of x. So the value of x will be 10. So it's understood by the Python that we have to find the cube of 10. Okay. Now our third part is taking input from the user. Taking input from the user and passing the input as argument in function call. Okay, so we write here x equal to int input, like we already learn about the user input. Okay, so we'll write same as it is, int input, we'll write here enter the value of x. Okay, see, yeah. Okay, so we have written here cube of x here. Now see, taking input from the user and passing the input as the argument in function call. Now let's understand this also. First, we have written the input, taken a variable that is x, and we have given the input user function or input function to the variable. We have written int input, enter the value of x. Okay, then we have written cube of x. So in this statement, whatever user will give the value to x, it will be transferred to the that function or or function call. So it will become cube of 10 or 100 or 12, whatever the user gives the value. Okay, and then we have fourth point also, using function call inside another statement. Okay. So now we are going to call the function inside another statement like this one. We have written print cube of 3. Okay. So what's basically is this? We are just printing the function call inside another statement. Okay. So in function in above examples we have written like x then cube of x. We are passing the function in just a normal way, but here we are passing the function call inside another statement, that is it can be any statement, but for example we have written here print of cube of 3. Okay, you can also write print of cube of x if you have given user input or you are giving any variable and assigning the value to that variable also. Okay, it can be a multiple ways, just it need to be understand that how it works in functions. Okay, so first function cube will be called and the returned computed result will get print. As I already told you, the first function cube will be called, okay, and then the returned computed result will get the printed. Okay, so our next function is, so this is the last way of calling a function. Okay, so using a function call inside an expression. Okay, so that is x equal to 3 into cube of 4. Here, first function of cube will be called and return the computed value of that. Okay, so then the value of cube of 4 will get multiplied by the 3. So here is the reason here, the computed value or the or result of function cube of 4 will get multiplied by 3. Okay, understood? So now we have one note here regarding the functions part. Note. Okay, so while calling the function, only name of function and arguments are given. Okay, no use of keyword, define, and colon is allowed. Okay, so we have Python function types here. So first type is built-in function. Then we have function defined in modules. Then we have user defined functions. So another heading will be defining functions in Python. Okay, so we have various components of function definitions. Function definitions our first one is our function header. So basically what is function header here? We have some line parameters of function header. See, example showing defining of a function. Okay, define interest p comma r comma t. Wait, I guess no. Wait, yes. Okay. So first line of function definition is what is function header? So basically function header is the first line of function definition. Okay. So the function we are calling, like we have written define interest p comma r comma t. So basically that is the function header. Begins with the define key, def keyword. You can also say define. Terminates with the colon. Okay, so contains name of that function, like we are writing define interest, then we have written bracket, we have passed the arguments in that bracket, that is p comma r comma t. Okay, so the name of the function is mostly important to write a function. Without name the function is not considered as that to be a function. Okay, so now we have then a list of parameters which is optional. You can give the pass the arguments in the bracket, or you can skip that brackets also. Okay, so now what are parameters? Let's learn parameters. So basically parameters are variables passed inside the parenthesis. Okay, now we have function body here. Function body. So what is function body refers to? It refers to indented block of statements. Okay. So another point is you can say body may or may not be, may or may not have return value. Okay. Then we have fourth, indentation. So what is indentation? The blank space in the beginning of the statement within the block. Okay.